Hey there everyone, it's 10 again. Showing up today, I am here to tell you about a new mod that I've been working on. It's going to give you realistic oxygen, like a lot of other games that are out there. A lot of space exploration games as well as Subnautica will have an oxygen mechanic where when you are in a place where you cannot breathe, even though you have a suit on, it will slowly lose O2, and you will have to kind of use the store that you have in your suit until you can get into another atmospheric area. Well, Starfield had the opportunity to do that, and they ended up going with something which was more or less a glorified stamina bar. Now, my mod is going to turn that into something that you can actually use for a little bit more of an immersive experience. I'm going to go ahead and show you here. We're currently in an enclosed, pressurized area, so we can breathe just fine in here. But as we head out, the moment that we're out here, we're off of our own suit's O2 stores. And oh so slowly, you'll see that stamina bar, which is now an actual O2 bar, slowly starts going down. If you are just kind of moving around normally and just doing regular breathing, then you're not going to lose it that fast. If you start running, you will actually start to lose it more quickly, although this is less quickly than the vanilla game. There's also the possibility of, I don't know if anybody around here that I've already killed has any scoped weapons. No, it turns out there were no scoped weapons. But if you go into the aiming mode, instead of losing your O2, you'll start to build up a little bit of CO2 from holding your breath too much. Which is a slightly different mechanic, but works more or less the same way. Everything in the game has been kind of tweaked in order to handle your the new O2 meter and how it works. So, you wouldn't want to just go around exploring and then suddenly die. So instead, you do have the option of, for one, you can go back into a pressurized environment. And within here, your O2 meter acts normally. So if you sprint around, it does start to drop, but it won't drop passively, and it will start to regenerate. What you're going to look for instead, you're going to look for these O2 tanks. Anywhere where you see these, you might recognize them from in the game. They've been replaced by actual usable O2 tanks. These two are regular sized. And then there are some larger ones you can also grab. So when you are out and about, you will need to use these to refill your O2. Let's go ahead and put them there. So let's say that I am out exploring. I'm going to lose a lot of my oxygen because I'm running around all the time. Trying to get from place to place on in a vacuum. So what I'll eventually do is, in order to keep myself from losing too much O2, I will toss in one of those tanks, and that'll refill my oxygen tank. Now, you ask yourself, well, what happens if I run out of oxygen? Let me go ahead and quick save for that. Running around enough and really running your O2 down to the ground, it will eventually get to a point where you will start to actually take damage. Now, in an atmosphere, you won't have to worry about actually dying from it, just like the vanilla game. It'll lower your health, but it won't lower it to a huge degree. CO2 does accumulate a bit faster than you lose oxygen once you're completely out, so you watch out. But here we go. completely out of O2, CO2 all the way up, you are going to lose health very quickly. You're going to start to black out, and things are rebalanced in order to take into account the fact that you're not going to get your O2 back all that quickly. So you are going to have ways to get it up a lot higher and to keep it from draining quite as quickly. And as you get up in level, you will find that you need less and less of those O2 tanks in order to keep going. But they'll be easy enough to handle. You can craft them at a pharmaceutical station. You just need a mag pressure tank and some water in order to get the oxygen out of the water. And that will give you an O2 tank that you can use. You will also find them on certain enemies, just randomly, although these guys didn't have any. They do sometimes have an O2 tank on them. You will also find them in containers, and you will find them on the ground, as you saw back in that little habitat there. But this is pretty much the overview of the mod. There are a few extra little things to keep note of, is that it will, although Starfield doesn't currently have any ability to really handle water environments right now, if you have a mod that allows you to dive underwater, it will react accordingly because you don't have access to a ready supply of oxygen. If you use the personal atmosphere ability, it will give you thin atmosphere. One thing to note is that see here on your little HUD, it will show you how much O2 is in the atmosphere. Some planets have thin atmosphere. In thin atmosphere, you will not lose any O2 because your suit will be able to get a small amount out of the atmosphere and replenish what you have. But it will still, as you're moving around, running around, doing things, holding your breath, yada yada, it will still drop. It just won't drop passively just from being out here. Now, personal atmosphere acts the same way. It's a thin atmosphere, so you will not lose any oxygen passively, but it won't regenerate it. And for the most part, that's going to be it. There may be additional things that I add in later. If you have any ideas for the mod or any requests, definitely go ahead and, especially on the Nexus page, go ahead and leave a comment there. Or you can leave a comment here on the YouTube video as well. Either way, I'll take your suggestions and we'll see what we can come up with, or what I think is a proper O2 system for a space exploration. Alright guys, until next time, take care. You keep your O2 tank filled.